All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So again, thank you everyone for joining today's Heroku Partner Patterns webinar, both customers as well as existing Salesforce staff. My name is Blaine Colonay. I'm the partner account manager and executive for managing all consulting partners across Americas. And today we have RadioSpark hosting our Partner Pattern session with Michael Rockford as well as Adam Odegaard from our customer GruntStyle. With that being said, just as a quick reminder, what we're going to do is probably mute most of the audience throughout the webinar. And if you do have any questions, certainly do post them in the Q&A section of the RingCentral Management Console from your side. And what we'll do is we'll cover those questions at the end. Also, as a reminder, this webinar is going to be recorded and will be circulated around to the attendees following today's event. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Michael Rockford. Michael?
Hey, Blaine, thanks so much. My name is Michael Rockford. I'm the founder of RadioSpark. Thank you, Blaine, for helping us sponsor this webinar, and I'm very excited to present the GruntStyle use case. Thank you, Adam, as well, for jumping on board with us today, as well as being a great partner to work with. So we'll get this kicked off. So just to briefly kind of go over what we're going to cover, you know, Adam is going to give you a little bit of background on who GruntStyle is, what their story is, and how they came to be and where they're going. From there, we're going to branch off to address that journey from the start. And how that led them to Salesforce, and more importantly, how that led them to Heroku. And finally, we're going to start talking about the data gateway, which is the solution that we built on Heroku, how that was implemented, and how that's enabling customer success. And then finally, looking forward, we're going to be look at all the possibilities, you know, that are now available, all the doors that are now open to GruntStyle from this investment. And it's really exciting, and I'm stoked for you guys to be here as well. And then finally, after that, we'll have a brief Q&A session where you guys can ask us some questions to anyone on the panel, and we'll go from there. So without further ado, Adam, tell us about GruntStyle.
All right, so I don't know how much you're all familiar with this. GruntStyle was founded in 2009 by Dan Alaric. He was a former drill sergeant in the Army with kind of he had already had an entrepreneur type attitude. Wanted to do some stuff, so he started selling some T-shirts out of the back of his car, getting some other companies to screen print for him. And sorry, somebody say something?
No, you should be good.
Okay. And then, you know, from there, realized that he wasn't fulfilling his customers' needs, so he ended up buying some of his own screen printing and thermal equipment. So for a couple of years, he just did that on his own, traveling from base to base, just selling at military posts. Didn't get his first employee, and his first employee was Liz, his wife, in about 2000, and I think it was 11. And the funny story he'll always tell you is, you know, like that they had about $1,500 left to their name, and they were like, you know, for the GruntStyle name, and they took it to Vegas, and they you know, he told his wife that if he lost the money, he would you know, he would shut down GruntStyle, and they ended up doubling their money, and so they kept GruntStyle, the dream of GruntStyle, alive. You know, fast forward a little bit, like, you know, for me, I started in 2014, and in between there, they grew a little bit. I was about the 35th active employee at the time of my hire, and currently right now we have over 450 employees. So in the last few years here, we really expanded and grew to a bunch of different, you know, different demographics, audiences. We no longer just focus on military. We, you know, as we say, you know, we sell to anybody who just loves America and loves freedom. Bacon and whiskey is, you know, kind of the internal thought there. You know, with that, we originally started on when I came in, we were on what was it? OpenCart was our commerce platform, and you know, obviously, the more we grew, it wasn't sustainable, so we moved over to Magento. Again, same thing. We didn't have the IT resources to make Magento what we wanted it to be, so we switched over to Shopify. And now we're reaching our limitations with Shopify. So that's where Salesforce and you guys come in.
Hey, Adam, thanks so much for that background. It's really an exciting story. Honestly, that kind of rags to riches, that story that's really, I mean, a part of Americana and that America dream, and how to go from selling T-shirts to the back of your truck to a few short years later of having 450 employees. It's got to be awesome to be part of that.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a wild ride, joining, being a part of this growth.
So to kind of carry on from what Adam said, like he mentioned, like from a partner's perspective, when we got involved, we heard about this explosive growth, and we talked with Dan Carroll, their IT director, and he came on not too long after, I believe you did, Adam, and he had mentioned that year over year since 2014, the business was just booming and exploding, like it just couldn't be stopped, and every year IT had a new project right before the holiday crunch time, when they would experience another level, like a tremendous level of explosive growth. And so they in that rush to beat business demand, they built lots of different solutions. Like you mentioned, there was Magento, there was Shopify, there was OpenCart. And as a result of all of this, these systems and this team in following and moving in this direction, we ended up with like not really a source of truth or an ability to get that 360 customer experience or view. And so Grunstyle had realized that, and approached Salesforce that said, hey, it's time to build an enterprise grade solution. How are we going to scale? How are we going to go from 450 employees to 1,000 employees, doubling in size, which was the challenge, the gauntlet they dropped on all of us to say, hey, make this happen. And so we're really proud to be a part of this journey for them. So to kind of walk you through that. So what do we do? So we talked about building this gateway. That's the title of the slide. What does that really mean? So as I mentioned, like Grunstyle turned to Salesforce to help them envision and how they can get this 360-degree view of their customer. They wanted a full overhaul from the customer experience, from the customer service department to their e-commerce presence, to the digital marketing automation, mobile experience, etc. Like it all had to be taken into account, because without that, they can't build that lifestyle brand that they want around Grunstyle, which is really what it's become. It's a lifestyle. It's like you mentioned, Adam, and what we've heard, it's anyone who loves America, who loves to be a part of this country, not just ex-military, but even, including them as well. It's really about how do you live that Grunstyle life, and bringing that dream to life using the right technology. And so how do we do this? Well, this is where Heroku makes the grade and is able to bring all those systems together. It's really the glue to tie in all of these disparate clouds, all the other systems that Grunstyle had in the past, and really make a new home for Grunstyle within the Salesforce ecosystem. So what is a data gateway? I don't want to get too technical here, so I'll try to keep it brief on the techie talk and this diagram as well. So really what we did is we built a Loopback API gateway. And Loopback is built on top of Node.js, and it's a powerful tool to allow systems to be integrated with each other very seamlessly, creates self-documented APIs, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, what this does is enables us to really connect all of these clouds in a single source of truth, and pass that to solutions that aren't necessarily native within the Salesforce ecosystem, especially in this case, like that mobile app, because we talked about this is going to be a lifestyle experience, and they need to be able to take this, their customers need to be able to take this experience and this power, the power of Salesforce, wherever they go. And Heroku is going to be enabling that. So what this meant, in this diagram, you see various names and whatnot. So one of the big things that Grunstyle has is they like any e-commerce or retail solution, they have to have an ERP solution to manage their inventory and whatnot. And that happened to be a tool called Odoo, which was built is an open source tool and was built on Python. When we discovered this made Heroku just a very natural extension for this project, because what we were able to do is we were able to take Odoo, which is their ERP, and Lyft, and move that over to the Heroku environment. And this allowed us to easily bolt on our data gateway, as well as open up options for leveraging Heroku Connect to seamlessly integrate the data that we want into the various clouds of Salesforce. So it's extremely powerful, and it's extremely fortuitous in our case, a turn of events that we were able to do this. And it's often the case in many solutions that, you know, we're able to re-platform existing apps onto the Heroku platform. So the other thing is, you guys imagine like going from 35 employees to 450 employees, you're probably getting a lot of orders. And I don't think even me on from a conceptual standpoint really understands like the explosive growth that GruntStyle has gone through and how many orders they get. You know, I remember when we first engaged these guys, sitting in on a Tuesday and watching their Shopify counter just go up and up and up and up, you know, tens of thousands of increments within the span of a few hours, you know. And that's just a lot of data to handle and hold on to. And as a result, you know, Service Cloud, what we did is we wanted to bring that Service Cloud Lightning experience, which is just such a robust experience, without risking hitting costly limits or that could impede their growth or trying to deal with all of this data. So Heroku was doing that. And Heroku is integrating that partially through their data gateway, partially through Heroku Connect, and in part through a tool called Canvas. And why am I talking about Service Cloud, you know, explicitly? You know, within GruntStyle, one of the things that they do is they have what they call a beer guarantee. And Adam, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but essentially what that means, it's, you know, your merchandise that you buy from GruntStyle, it's 100% guaranteed. Doesn't matter if you're at an event, you spill beer all over it, set yourself on fire, whatever you do, like you guys like have your customers covered. And that kind of commitment to their customer means you have to have a robust service tool. You have to be able to respond to customer demand when things change. You need to be able to be on top of that. And so having an integrated experience with Service Cloud was an absolute must. And Adam, I hope I accurately described your beer guarantee for you guys, which is one of the coolest things you guys do.
Yeah, absolutely. We essentially, like you said, I mean, it's just it's a commitment to our customers. We stand behind the quality of our products, and so if something's wrong, whether it be the customer, you know, something the customer did or something we did, there's 100% lifetime guarantee, no questions asked. So we always say, you know, like sizes gain or weight gain, weight loss, rip it, tear it, you know, beer stains. The reason it's called a beer guarantee was mostly to just attract attention to it. You know, it's kind of if anybody's ever read Purple Cow, that's kind of the Purple Cow of GruntStyle. It catches people's attentions quickly, or, you know, and then it gets them interested.
Yeah. So, and on top of that, just that customer service experience and that commitment, you know, that commitment extends not just through the customer service experience, but also through that marketing experience. And I know using the word marketing can sometimes be a dirty word, but really what GruntStyle is looking to do is to really tailor each individual customer they have to a unique experience, regardless of where they are, through their mobile app. And that's made possible for Heroku, through being able to pass all this data through these channels, regardless of where it's coming from, integrating it with their ERP solution, integrating it with Service Cloud, with Marketing Cloud, to be able to accurately target new promotional items based on who these people are. Because, you know, as you know, Adam has talked about, they're growing, their brand is growing, it's becoming more inclusive. It's not just veterans or active military personnel. Now it's anyone who really supports the United States of America and lives that GruntStyle life. It's really like this inclusive group that you're able to bring more people in. And within that, you know, they're very unique individuals and habits and buying, and we're able to pull in all that data, collate it, and target them specifically to really improve that customer experience, not just from a customer service side when things go wrong, but but to give new promotional offers or show new shirts that just be like, hey, I know you like this new brand. So just even that like is extremely important to have a robust system backing that up. So really just to summarize, like we're building this data gateway. Like it's a true customer focused application. You know, we're really trying to bring out that full potential. You know, we've got, you know, the world's leading CRM, you know, from the Service Cloud standpoint. We've got Marketing Cloud, which is a phenomenal platform for digital marketing, email automation, social, SMS, you name it, it's there. Commerce Cloud, one of the leading e-commerce solutions that we have. And then all of that is brought together from their mobile experience, from their ERP, because of Heroku. So let's talk a little bit about, now that we've laid the groundwork for the future, kind of some stuff that I've heard and I've worked with GrunStyle and what I've talked with them about. What does this mean going into the future? How do we extend beyond just, I've talked about APIs and data gateways, but what does that mean for the lifestyle brand? Well, like I said, the true goal is to build a lifestyle. It's like a real lifestyle application. So picture a GrunStyle club member, which is an extremely important part of the GrunStyle brand, is becoming part of this club. And you're checking into an MMA fight or going to a concert with the GrunStyle lifestyle app. This prompts the GrunStyle team via their app on the ground to, in real time, know who's checked in, where they are, what seat they have, and hand deliver promotional items to them, or potentially even just to add a little spice to this, like maybe even drone drop ship it. Now, a lot of this is kind of like, you know, hey, pie in the sky, you know what we're talking about. But in reality, this is feasible because Heroku's here, because that we've built this data gateway, because all these the top level clouds, these enterprise grade system is fully integrated. Like we can actually talk seriously about doing some of that kind of stuff. And that's what we're working with GrunStyle to kind of plan for in the future is how do we really bring this lifestyle app, this lifestyle experience? Like how do we bring this to life? And we're going to do that through technology. We're going to do that through Heroku. So again, like extending beyond, I talked a little bit about marketing. You know, Salesforce with their Einstein AI tool is going to allow GrunStyle to be more predictive, more prescriptive rather, with their marketing. Whether who you are, or like if you are, you know, a veteran, or if you're just, you know, not I won't say just someone, but if you're a person who loves America and wants to be a part of this club, wants to be a part of this lifestyle, like they can track that. They've got all this data, and they can start applying predictive analytics, machine learning to their marketing data to see where do they go next, what promotions, who should they target, like how do I make this experience better? And that's what it's about, like making the experience the best it can be for their customer. And again, with all of that data, we got to talk about analytics, because now when you're operating at a strategic level, when you're going from 35 employees and in 3 short years to 450 employees, like you have to be able to see and visualize your data. You have to be able to react to things, change in markets, customers, you know, satisfaction scores, appreciation, you know, shipping times, all of that. Like it's overwhelming. Like, and now that we're collating and collecting like all of this data, well, now we can talk about Analytics Cloud and how that's going to bolt on and empower the executive team and the directors and the managers at GrunStyle to make acute decisions on their data and how to move and make changes within their organization. Again, that's made possible because of Salesforce Analytics Cloud. So just to wrap up, we've talked about a lot of things. We've got a really exciting company here and a very exciting use case of how Salesforce and Heroku can really bring all this to life. I'd like to open up the floor to questions. If anyone has one, please take a look at the QA panel, as Blaine mentioned earlier. And Blaine, if you have any final comments or anything, I'll hand it over to you. Blaine, you might be on mute.
No, yeah, sorry guys. Yeah, at this time, if there's any questions out there, certainly certainly pose them to Michael and the rest of the team from Radio Spark, please.
Okay, it looks like we got one question that came in. And I'll hang on one second to read this. So what was the biggest technical hurdle and how did you overcome it? So that's an interesting question. I mean, I honestly think that the hurdles here really weren't entirely technology focused, but rather just adapting to making sure that we were able to prescribe the right solutions to Grunstyle's explosive business growth. As a part of this project, we've had an aggressive timeline. We are looking to enable their success for Black Friday, which is coming up quickly, and there's a lot of pieces in play that need to be buttoned down tightly. So I don't think it's really a technical hurdle, but if I had to pick one, I would honestly say probably one of the biggest ones was getting that ERP and all of its data over to Heroku in that kind of time frame. There was, I'm trying to remember, I think it was like 40 gigabytes of PostgreSQL data that we had to migrate over into it accurately and undisturbed, and planning that data translation process while keeping both systems alive where it was in its old platform solution and where it is now. It was probably, I would think, that is the biggest hurdle, but some of my tech leads might disagree with me, so I won't go too far down that path. So I got another question coming in. What was the exciting part of this project? So that's a kind of personal question, I guess. One of the I think honestly it was really exciting just to be involved with such a dynamic company. People who were like extremely driven and motivated to succeed and really bring what I think is a very valuable a brand and idea to life. And it kind of sounds, I hope it doesn't sound contrived with because we're talking about selling T-shirts, but it's more than that. And this experience and being able to really bring that to life with technology, really, I felt was the most exciting part. And I'm really appreciative to be a partner with Grunstyle and working with them to make that happen. So I got another question that just popped up. Are we running it in a private space, and how many dynos? So as part of this, the deal that was struck with Grunstyle, we didn't just sell the initial, as you guys may or may not know, there are various models within Heroku. There's a starter package and whatnot. We wanted to plan for the future. So we started off with, yes, we have a private space because we have potentially secure data through the ERP solution, financial data, whatnot. Most of that's offloaded through credit card vendors and payment gateways, but just to be secure, we do have a private space. But for the most part, we're not dealing with really any true PCI compliance issues. But we don't know where we're going to go in the future. So starting off with that in mind was key. In terms of the number of dynos, I guess I'll answer the question this way. The first build is going to consume about 15, I would say. But available to us over the course of the next year, 2 years, we've got about 80. And as part of that package, we're talking about leveraging microservices architecture in multiple environments in order to support a full enterprise deployment path. So from testing, QA, production, and leveraging Dyno's unique apps so that we could test and not test, but like so we can trial different ideas and moving forward as we get creative with some of these new apps that are on the horizon. So one other question, what's the next big priority for us that we want to accomplish? So GrunStyle's got, like we mentioned, like we're pretty heads down in building this out and enabling GrunStyle success for the holiday season coming up. But there's also potential for a Super Bowl commercial coming out, which is going to be really exciting if we're able to deliver, when we're able to deliver on that, and the amount of, you know, branding that's going to come through this. I'm sure, Adam, you're sitting there going, "Oh man, like this, it's going to be transformative." I feel so. Beyond that, you know, I think we're starting to have those conversations now. What's really next? But there's a lot coming up that we're working to manage, and I think that's gonna keep us busy and heads down for a while. So we'll just give people a couple more minutes to see if there's any other questions. So yeah, one other question came up actually related to one of the earlier questions on if we're using private spaces. So the question was, what are private spaces? So Heroku private spaces means that you're running on a private runtime. Not necessarily like anything run on Heroku is secure, but they have these public runtimes with their dynos that where anyone on the public system can share resource load and whatnot. A private space makes sure that it's your own runtime, it's yours, like, you know, no one else has access to it, you're not sharing those loads. And for the most part, why is that important? Why that's important is because there are certain, in particular, regulatory burdens or security concerns that companies may or may not have, depending on the type of app, that necessitate that level of data security and access. And so Heroku Private Spaces was the answer to address that question on how do we manage that. There's also another level up called Heroku Shield, which, without going into too much technical detail, is HIPAA secured. So any PHI, personal health information, whatnot, that you can also secure on that, which is another level above just even a private space. And so from anywhere from the public runtime all the way up, you can secure your data at rest, no matter what you decide with Heroku. So just give people about another minute or 30 seconds to see if they've got any more questions. Done once.
Yeah, I think, guys, this is Blaine. I think we'll probably wrap it up from here. So for everyone that again attended, thank you for taking the time to allow us to present to you this patterns with GrunStyle, as well as our partner RadioSpark. So just to kind of wrap things up, we've got a slide here as far as covering information on all parties included, as well as some details on RadioSpark's participation at this year's Dreamforce user conference. So certainly take a look. If you have any questions as a customer regarding the use case and the Data Hub use case here, feel free to reach out to Michael Rockford at RadioSpark, as well as you have the opportunity through this information provided here to have to attend or even meet with him in person at Dreamforce. So all that being said, everyone, thank you so much for your time. As mentioned, this is going to be recorded. We will be circulating and sending this out to you as a customer, follow-ups from RadioSpark, as well as follow-ups to internal staff here from myself at Salesforce. So thank you, everyone, for your time. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Blaine.
Thank you.
Thank you.